All right, well, welcome back everyone. We're going to spend some more time in the shop. I'm determined to get these end panels finished. Trying to find some time in the evening. I've been working, building cabinets for a couple of projects, and I don't know how much gas is left in the tank tonight, but we've got to get this done. So having had some time to think about it, the metal frame has rounded corners on the top and the sides. And I did not account for that, and thinking about it, I should do that so that it follows the shape of the metal frame a little bit better. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to put a catch on the vent that we put on the other night, and we're going to make the door, and then hopefully these panels are ready to bring outside. But that's the plan for tonight, but we're glad that you could join us, and we hope that you enjoy this video, and let's get started. So I have some parts left over from the frame, the damaged parts left over, and this is the corner that I'm talking about. So I'm going to just lay this down and run a felt marker. We'll cut it with a jigsaw, belt sand it smooth, and then redo the quarter round, and that's on both this corner and the far one. And then at the top, we're going to account for this little corner, and same thing. We're going to belt sand that round and then redo the quarter round on here, and then we'll get to building the door. And I have found some spring hinges in the storage room, and then we'll get to doing the same thing on the back panel, rounding the top and the two side corners and putting a catch for the plexiglass vent. All right, well, all the corners on this panel are done. The two corners and the top peak are all nicely rounded off, so that should help with keeping the plastic from tearing. And we'll do the end panel off camera. You don't need to see me cut and sand and router it twice, kind of redundant. But next step is I'm going to make a door, so next step is to rip some plywood, and we're probably going to do it the same way. Lap joints, and I'm going to put a cross brace in there too to give it a bit more stability. All right, well, I've got a couple of loose pieces fit into the door frame. I've got them spaced with number 20 lamello biscuits, giving me an 1/8 inch gap all the way around the door. I've got 4 angle brackets at 45, and I was thinking of doing one long angle, but I want to be able to change the swing of the door, and this will allow me to do that if we decide to change that. So now we're going to lay the plastic down, tack that in place, and then sandwich that in between some more 4-inch plywood. So I got the plastic down, I've got it trimmed around the edges, stapled it down. Now we're going to put the overlapping pieces of plywood, finish off the door. Alright, well I got the corners all tacked in place. I have to do the center pieces, but I can't reach it. A little inconvenient to work right at the moment. I'd be crawling all over the plastic. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the full end panel off, stand it up, and this is tacked to the bench with some 23 gauge pins, which come apart quite easy, and we'll work on it separate. That'll make it a little bit easier to handle. Alright, well all the pieces are on now. They're tacked in place with 1/4 inch narrow crown staples. I've got the whole door fastened to the workbench with 23 gauge pins, and they'll come off easily enough just with a pry bar, and then you just break them off from the backside. That kind of helps you keep it in place. And yeah, sometimes I tend to overthink things, but I think it looks pretty good. And yeah, let's get the finishing touches done, screw it all together, and attach it to the end frame. Alright, well the door is almost complete other than handle and hinges. I finished screwing it together. I decided to round over all the edges so there's no sharp edges on the door. Kind of looks pretty good. Yeah, maybe the door's a little overthought, but looks good at any rate. Could have probably done a whole lot easier, but this way, no sagging in the corners, and yeah, still lets a lot of sunlight through. So now we're going to put it back in the end frame, attach the hinges, and we should have a swinging door. Alright, well the door's hung, and I managed to find a suitable handle in the storage room from a previous project or a salvage. Yeah, sometimes you can find these things at garage sales or in buckets of screws, or you never know where you're going to find these things. It's always handy to keep them. But anyway, the door will need some adjustment once it's attached to the metal frame. So the last thing today is going to be to trim the corners or round off the corners like we did on the front panel on both corners and the peak, and make a little latch for the vent. Alright, well that concludes the two end panels for the greenhouse. We're going to take a bit of a break as got other things to do, and we got some other projects that have to get done. But I'm glad this one's done. It turned out okay. You know, kind of made it up as I went and cobbled things together, found things in the storage room that made it work. Reused some plywood scraps that were going to be thrown out. So far the only cost that I've incurred on this part of the project is the plastic, and we've got lots of that left over. So yeah, hopefully we can find a day to get out and put it onto the greenhouse and get it covered with plastic. But yeah, fun project. Hope you enjoyed it and that you were glad that you could join us on this video. And if you like this type of content, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and help it grow, and like and share and all those good things. So glad you could come, and we'll see you on the next video.